Hi guys, here we are to talk about questions 59 through 63. So we're not quite done, but we're getting there. So we're here to talk about our final stage of cell respiration, electron transport chain. So as a reminder, the first stage was glycolysis, second stage was Krebs cycle, and now electron transport chain. So location, intermitochondrial membrane. We've talked about this several times. I actually click so you guys can remember. You're right over here. And just grab my pen because I know I'm going to need it. We're going to be using, which is question 60, the cytochrome proteins and ATP synthase. Anytime you see something ending in A's, it's an enzyme in order to make ATP. Question 61, electron transport chain pumps hydrogen ions. So if you remember all those NADHs and FADH2s, all those H's at the end, this is when we're going to use them. I call them energy carriers. They're going to be helping convert to ATP. So they're going to be pumping across this inner membrane, which also will lower the pH in the inner membrane space. If you remember about acids and bases, an acid is when you have more hydrogen protons. So all, like I said, all that NADH and FADH2 are now going to be converted to ATP. Each NADH is converted to 3 ATP. Each FADH2 is converted to 2 ATP. So we really like these NADHs. They're worth a little bit more to us. And overall, the electron transport chain is going to produce 34 ATP. Now, if you remember, glycolysis produces 2 ATP, Krebs cycle produces 2 ATP, and now we get 34. So electron transport chain, this is when we're going to get our ATP. It also produces some water, and we're going to use, again, that NAD plus and FAD plus to accept all these electrons from the glucose. So technically, you're done with the questions. However, bear with me while I explain how this is all working through diagrams. So remember, there's the inner membrane. So you're looking at the mitochondria. There's the outer membrane. Here's the inner membrane space. So as I was saying, it was pumping across into the inner membrane space. That's where it is. The matrix, which is where the Krebs cycle occurred, and the cristae, which are the folds. Now we're going to zoom in where this box is. Zooming in. All right, here we are. Just like our membrane, we have our nice phospholipids here. But what we're really paying attention to is these cytochrome proteins. And so here's our NADHs that came from glycolysis in the Krebs cycle. And look, they're being converted. They're taking those H's off, so they're losing, which means they're being oxidized. And so they're going up through these proteins. Also at the same time, we have these two H's plus some oxygen gives us some good old H2O. The oxygen is like an acceptor, like trying to get those hydrogen ions so that we can pump all these through. And so look, now we have a higher hydrogen concentration. And what happens with that, ATP synthase shoots it through. And each time that goes through, it's helping this ADP and get phosphorylated so it become ATP. This is what we want. And here it's showing the same thing, but now with FADH2. So the hydrogen's going through, as it kind of skips through there, still making some water. And the biggest thing is the importance of these hydrogen ions going through, and every time it zips across, making some ATP. All right, we're going to save this last part for the last video. See you guys soon.